Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to UFC news, live events, basically just anything related to the UFC. So I kindly ask that if you enjoy the video, a friendly reminder to click the like button. If you want to become a part of this channel, feel free to click the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss out on anything, you want to stay up to date, feel free to click the notification bell. All of this really contributes to the growth of this channel. I would really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy this one. UFC Fight Night, Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates, Kansas City, Missouri. This is what the welterweight division has been longing for. This is exactly what the welterweight division needs, due to the fact that the welterweight division is basically the exact opposite of every other division within the UFC right now, apart from the heavyweight division. I'd say the welterweight division and the heavyweight division, they're in the same boat. Because if you take any division within the UFC right now, you could have anyone within the top 7, top 6, fight the champion, and it would be an interesting fight. It would be competitive. You could sell that fight. You could justify that fight. If you look at middleweight right now, even though I'm a massive Dricus fan, right? You could take Dricus. You could have him fight Hamzat, you could have him fight Nasruddin Imavov, Caio Baralho. We saw Dricus versus Sean Strickland. The first time was really competitive. We saw Dricus versus Izzy. That fight was competitive up until the end where Dricus submitted him. You could even take Jared Cannonier, have him face Dricus right now. It would be an interesting fight. You could justify that fight. Even though I'd pick Dricus to basically beat all of them because I'm biased, you could sell that fight. In the welterweight division and in the heavyweight division, that's not the case. That's not because of the champion, right? You might like Belal Muhammad, you might dislike Belal Muhammad. It doesn't take away the fact that he is right now the best welterweight in the world. Okay, in his last 10 fights, 10 wins. That's pretty up there. Now, you could make an argument to say, well, he might not be the most exciting fighter to watch. Doesn't matter, he wins. And the point I'm trying to make is, in the welterweight division right now, you could probably take Shavkat Rakhmonov. Are we gonna say Sean Brady? And they'd be competitive against Belal, due to the fact that it just feels like they're on a different level. They have separated themselves from the rest of the division. Those three guys, and you can say that Belal has separated himself from the contenders, from Shavkat and Sean Brady. We saw what Belal did to Sean Brady. So just a division that doesn't have a lot of upcoming genuine contenders within it right now. Now we could look at Joaquin Buckley, and he looked impressive with his win against Colby Covington. He might leapfrog a few spots, maybe be one of those genuine contenders. I feel like personally Ian Garry could be a part of that contenders list, due to the fact that he took Shavkat to the distance. Was a close fight, he was competitive, and we'll see whether Carlos Prates is a part of that upper echelon of the welterweight division. And this fight, we could see both men establish themselves within the welterweight division as genuine contenders, depending on how this fight plays out. So if Carlos Prates ends up knocking out Ian Garry, then I'd say Ian loses a lot of that level status, right? If Ian wins, then you'd say that basically just timing wise, Carlos needs time to be on that level. You could say the same if Ian Garry loses. But if you see a 5-round fight where it's a back and forth, where Ian Garry wins one round and then Prates wins a round, and then Ian Garry wins another round followed by Prates winning 2 rounds, or vice versa, then you might see both men establish themselves on that upper tier of fighters within the welterweight division. And that would genuinely be good for the division right now, because I don't think JDM is on that level. Even though Jack Della Maddalena is gonna fight Belal for the belt next, coming off of an injury, and he hasn't really fought, perennial top fives. So I don't even think JDM is a part of that level. I think he could be. I think if we give him time, he could be. But right now, it's basically Shafkat and Sean Brady, and we saw what Bilal did to Sean Brady. So genuinely, a much needed fight within the welterweight division. And this is going to be Carlos Prates' first genuine test to see how good he really is with regards to his overall game within the UFC. Because we saw him against Li Jingliang, who was predominantly a striker, and we saw Prates piece him up. We saw him against Neil Magny, the same thing. Even though Neil Magny deserves credit, he is a journeyman. And Neil Magny has been the gatekeeper of the welterweight division. So if you're an up-and-coming welterweight, if you want to establish yourself within the top 6, top 7, you have to beat Neil Magny, and then you could potentially. But if you lose to Neil Magny, then we know you're not on that level quite yet. So Neil Magny has been the gatekeeper of good fighters within the welterweight division for some time now. Carlos Prates ended up winning via KO against Neil Magny as well. But he hasn't fought someone that is overall as good as Ian Garry. Because whether you like or dislike Ian Garry, the fact that within the Octagon, he's good. Right? Outside of the Octagon, you may have some questions. Inside of the Octagon, he's really good. We saw him fight strikers. We saw him fight MVP. And he knew for a fact that with regards to his striking, wasn't on MVP's level. If that fight played out on the feet for the entirety of the fight, Ian Garry would have lost that fight. He knew that. That's why he took MVP down. And Ian Garry's a winner. He finds ways to win. So if this fight with Carlos Prates isn't playing out the way Ian Garry would have liked, with regards to on the feet, if Prates has the better exchanges, catches Ian Garry, if Ian Garry's in danger, you could see him take Carlos Prates down. You could see him outscore Prates with regards to the wrestling, holding him down. And Ian Garry's submission game is good. So he might genuinely be a problem for Carlos Prates. This will be Carlos's biggest test within the UFC thus far. And Ian is even a bigger threat than Jeff Neal was. Because initially, Prates was scheduled to fight Jeff Neal on UFC 314. Neal pulled out due to the fact that... Jeff Neal. Sorry, thought of Neil Magny. Jeff Neal pulled out due to the fact that he had an injury. And then they scheduled Prates versus Ian Garry. And now, the only person that Prates has beaten that are ranked is Neil Magny. So we'll see Carlos Prates fight his second ranked opponent, and the guy's ranked number 7. And in all honesty, I think that's tough. I think Ian Garry should be ranked higher. Personally, I feel like he should be ranked above Joaquin Buckley. So with regards to Carlos Prates and what he can gain, if he knocks out Ian Garry, you could say he's part of that list, that upper echelon welterweight list within the UFC. And then obviously Ian Garry's stock drops due to the fact that he got knocked out. He wouldn't be a part of that list. If Ian Garry wins, then he'd be a part of that list. And then, Carlos Prates, he's only had 4 or 5 fights within the UFC, so he has a lot of time to grow. And with regards to experience, he still has a lot to learn. So if he loses, it'd be like, it makes sense, you know what I'm saying? However, if it goes to 5 rounds and it's a genuinely good fight where both men try and exploit one another's weaknesses, one gets the upper hand, momentum shifts, we could see both men solidify themselves as being that top welterweight, which the welterweight division has been, like I've said, been longing for, due to the fact that Bilal and then Shafkat, potentially Sean Brady, due to the fact that Sean looked good against Leon, but he got dog walked by Bilal in their first fight. So it makes for interesting viewing. It's really going to be interesting to see how this plays out with regards to strengths and weaknesses. Ian Garry being, I'd say, more of a complete fighter than Carlos Prates is. Ian Garry, with regards to his fight IQ, I'd say has the upper hand against Carlos Prates, and Ian Garry has fought better competition. He actually fought Jeff Neal, fought MVP when MVP was in the welterweight division, an MVP who was really good. Whether he's welterweight, middleweight, he fights the same way. Feels untouchable on the feet. Ian Garry fought Shavkat Rakhmonov, as I previously mentioned, and it looked really good. He looked really good. Looked like he deserved to be in the mix with regards to top welterweights. So it's gonna be insane. Gonna be a good fight. Really looking forward to the card as well. We have names on the card, guys that are up and coming as well. The card initially would have been headlined by Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree, but then it didn't happen. So now Ian Garry, Carlos Prates, main event, and I feel like it's not a drop off. I feel like it could be an insane fight. I'm genuinely looking forward to see this fight. Let me know in the comment section early predictions. Who do you think is going to win, Carlos Prates or Ian Garry? I would really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.